Anyway, guys, let's go. Let's dive into game. It is time for the IEM replay cast. Let's get rid of that match info there. We don't need that. Up here in the top left-hand side, in the red, the Terran player representing Mouse Sports, it is Heromarine. Dr. Gabe. Does he have a nickname? Heromarine? I feel like he doesn't have a nickname. I'm gonna call him Dr. Gabe because he has those glasses that make him look really smart, like he's got a PhD. Look who's speaking. Look who's talking. Down here in the bottom right-hand side, in the blue, the leader of the Viking afterlife. He who is pretty much never-endingly dining in the halls of Valhalla. It is Jens Vara Asgard. Snute. Representing Team Liquid. Yeah, Asgard, that's like the most badass last name you can possibly get. Can Nordic people not be so cool? Can they like not have names that are just so friggin' awesome? Like if you're in Australia and your last name's fucking Fjord Slayer or like Mjolnir, Asgard Man or some shit, people would laugh at you. They'd be like, you fucking chose that name, didn't you, you fucking tryhard? No one has a name that fucking cool. But for some reason, apparently if you're Nordic, you just get to have cool names that sound like Viking shit. Okay, let's go with it. Apparently Gabe is his only nickname, says Eon Blue, or Big Gabe. Okay, I like Big Gabe. That's also that's like, it's just funny because he's a small nerdy boy like most of us are. My favorite thing with Gabe is him and DeMuslim's run-ins on ladder, because, you know, Gabe's a nice guy, but when he's playing, like many pros, he's a little bit egotistical, as we all are. I am as well, even though I'm meant to just play for fun these days, I still get super egotistical sometimes, right? So he's always very focused on like what he screwed up or how his opponent's strategy was a bit off. Like he's very doesn't take into account his opponent's feelings when he's streaming, and he does a post-match analysis. Let's put it that way, okay? And yeah, I don't know if people link his stream to DeMuslim afterwards, or they link the clips, or DeMuslim immediately goes to his channel afterwards. But I feel like every day there's like DeMuslim like on Twitter like, wow, nice to, you know, beat Heromarine in a game and immediately go to his stream and catch him calling me a piece of shit or something. And I'm like, Ben, why do you go to his stream? You love the drama too much, Ben. Like, Ben's like, well, I mean, I don't know, you shouldn't be an asshole like after you play someone on ladder. And I feel like there's always a new Heromarine and DeMuslim kind of like half run-in where Heromarine, like, he doesn't even realize he's doing it, I don't think, because he's just kind of like, you know, I fucked this up, that's why I lost this game or something. And then I think like Ben sees it as him being like, no, you're trying to like degrade the skillful things I did to win the game. I don't know. All I know is there's constant Twitter drama between the two, and it's funny. But oh shit, the drone gets down. Very nicely done. So you can see the mind game so far, by the way. This Reaper was hiding back here from the Overlord for a long time, but the Zerglings didn't commit. They were just like, Reaper hasn't moved out. He must be hiding. Reaper finally comes across the map, but couldn't block the third. Ooh, does get a creep tumor. That was nice. That was a new one. I'm 90% sure that wasn't a cancel. I think that was a new one the Queen just put down. 90% sure. Not 100%. Looks like tons of drones on the way here for Snute. Snute probably going to be opening up with his Rule of One gas. Snute taught me this build in Heart of the Swarm. I adapted it to Legacy of the Void. Him and many other players still using it. I don't think many of them were using it at the start of Legacy. I know Rhett was when I first wrote my guide. I wrote my original guide, if you go check the TL post, by the way, for the Rule of One gas, in like the very beginning, like less than a month into Legacy of the Void being released. It might have even been in the beta. And I remember a lot of people shat on that build for a long time, and it's become pretty much the standard way for quite a lot of players to open up, including in Korea. So I'm like, guys, get wrecked. That build, which Snute taught me in Heart of the Swarm, was actually good for Legacy, but I'm going to take credit for it and not credit Snute most of the time, because I was the one who wrote the guide on Team Liquid for Legacy and the timings for that. So I'm like, just going to say, you know, pretty good build. It was especially good when the 2-1-1 era was around, where everyone was playing just double Marine drop. But this game, of course, not 2-1-1. That's fallen way out of the meta, beyond not able to just dominate everyone with Marines and Medevacs like he could back in 2016. And so it's more about getting out, you know, roaches or spores and queens and zerglings to defend the multi-prong aggression. Heromarine is just poking around with these Hellions. Viking coming in behind that. There's a Liberator on the way. Hellions threatening over here. Do we have an Armory? I think we do. Yeah, there's an Armory finished. So, of course, Heromarine, he's actually going to morph right there. Wow, a very ballsy Hellbat morph. And a good defense by Snute. Picks up at the last second, only does lose one Hellion, but he's really trying to force his way in here. Snute's positioning on these Queens is so good, dude. Yeah, the Vikings, the Overlord's going to go down. That Viking's almost dead. It's like really low. And here we go. Heromarine going to rotate into that main base. We've got the Hellbats coming in on the third, but there's already Queens and Roaches there. Snute so well set up to deal with this. Oh no! Queen goes down at the front. Snute not able to micro both. Another Queen goes down without a transfuse. Drones are pulled. Queens will be able to slowly deal with this, but that medevac healing is working. Wonders the Queen's not focus firing that either. Finally, Snute starts to deal with this, but you know, I felt like he was so well positioned, but he just got a little bit thrown by that Hellbat drop in the main because those Queens were here. If those Queens were on the right, or if he saw that rotation, I think he would have been able to transfuse on the left, keep all these Queens alive. Instead, now he's lost a ton of Queens, but it doesn't really matter. He's going Ling Ravager all in. Heromarine got nothing at home, dude. He's just dead. He's just dead. His Liberator's like, oh, I'm not even being microed. I'm shooting an Overlord. And the Ravagers, yeah, it's just a few Hellbats and SCVs. There's just nothing here to fight. Heromarine went third CC. He went for the upgrades off the Armory. Went for second and third factory. But they were very delayed because he committed to so many Hellions, the Medevac, the Viking, and the Liberator. All of which, of course, are not going to be able to defend against that sort of attack. So Snute was just like, nah, we're just going for a 37 drone, 2 gas, Roach Ravager Zergling. And I guess that's part of why he was a bit misprepared, right? Because he was moving across the map with most of his Roaches. Yeah, he was trying to both counter push while defend. So I think we can forgive Snute a few small mistakes. I think we're allowed to, since he eventually cleans it up and then just busts and does win. GG, well played. Good clean game 1 victory there for Snute. Takes the first map and rocks it. Goody Goody says, as far as I know, they're very good friends to the point that anything goes without hard feelings. Oh, really? I always just catch the backside of it. I guess they probably get on a bit, yeah. Maybe it was the old days. Maybe I'm like thinking of like 6 months or a year or two ago, because they used to just have these run-ins where I'm like, I feel like they're friendly normally, but yeah, Ben would get. It'd always be I don't know. Maybe he was joking. Maybe he's being ironic. Living in different time zones, I've always got like Twitter to kind of keep on top of that. I never go to Home Story, so I've never really hung out with Gabe. I've talked to Heromarine a few times, but he's usually focused on those EU events, man. Hasn't come out to Asia too much. Did come out for Pyeongchang. Unfortunately, he lost that series to Kelleger, right? He did. Did he beat Kelleger 3-1? I can't even remember, dude. I can't even remember. Who won that series? I remember it was a 3-1. I remember someone was winning the first game, and then they kind of threw it. But then they won anyway, the series. I think Kelleher beat him 3-1. I'm pretty sure it was Kelleher, yeah. Who's enjoying the sound effects, guys? Here we go. It's loaded. Finally! Finally! It took its time, but we got there in the end. Let's go. Game number 2 of this IEM replay cast. They are good friends. Good shit, good shit. Heromarine hates Snute? Oh, I bet he does. I mean, playstyle-wise, yes. He complained about Snute being a normal level player with a Zerg advantage. Oh, shit, really? Okay, this is what I'm talking about with Gabe. Gabe always says like these super judgmental things on stream. I love it. I love it. He's like, he doesn't filter himself at all. It's great. It's great. We need more of it, to be honest. The worst thing is when people like really like, you can't express yourself. How dare you? Obviously, it's a bit BM, but I don't mind a little bit of people showing some attitude, some judgment, add some drama, add some fun. Up in the top left-hand side in the red, he's Heromarine. This map, not going to die to that same sort of push as easily. Of course, especially if he... Is this zoomed in more than normal? Or I think I'm imagining things. Down here in the bottom right, it's Snute. Sorry guys, my cast is so lazy today. I'm just doing like this... It's like lazy rambling cast. So anyways, basically Snute loves these heavy queen openings, loves opening up into roaches afterwards. But you know, Snute's really, I think, he's a hard guy to crack. But lately, his Zerg vs Terran, against Bio, I kind of doubt it. Against Mech, I feel like he's an almost perfect player. in many scenarios, but there's like some situations where games drag on, and I feel like Snute kind of gets bogged down in terms of unit composition and efficiency, and sometimes stays on the same thing too long, but like also just keeps attacking in the same areas. He doesn't counterattack, he doesn't like rotate enough, he just tries to fight front on over and over, even when his opponent's like so well prepared, because he keeps using the same attack over and over again. So I feel like that's hopefully something we don't see too much this series, is Snute getting a bit too stiff, because I feel like he always gets in winning positions versus mech, and then he goes for the slowest possible victory, and it does sometimes slip out of his grasp, which is something which used to never happen. He used to be so good at closing those games out versus mech. Has been some moments of not quite as consistent with that recently, but he's still an amazing player. Both of them are. Heromarine turning into one of the absolute most consistent best Terrans. These guys actually played a show match this morning, guys. Who ended up winning that? I don't know. It was Kelazur that won 3-1, says Dr. Denim. Thank you. Appreciate that. Snark with the Twitch Prime sub. Snark. Thank you very much. Appreciate the support, friend. Is 2-on-1 still good to use in the meta, says Lee Step. Yeah, I mean, as far as I know, not many people do it, at least at high level. Maybe in the mid leagues, everyone's still doing 2-on-1. I don't know. It's one of those builds, if like no one's doing it, I think it's incredible. Even if everyone's doing it, it's still a great way to practice marine micro, drops, hot pickups, because it's a very control-based build, right? It's about exerting pressure and not throwing your units away. So 2-on-1 is just one of these like nice builds for practicing really typical bio play. I think it's a good way to play. I remember there was a while people were like, it's bad now. And people always do this thing. They're like, it's bad now. And I'm like, maybe if you're playing the best players in the world, but this whole attitude of like, I've got to do what the pros do, usually it hurts casual players more than it helps them. They're like, well, pros say this is bad now. And it's like, yeah, if you're playing other pros who have practiced against it and know how to counter it, sure. But like, it's, you know, you're going to be playing regular ladder Joes who aren't countering, who haven't adapted perfectly to the build. So honestly, it's more about just choose a build which you enjoy, which plays to the strengths and things that you want to work on, you know, things that you want to improve and get better at. And that way you have way more fun. Speaking of fun, holy shit, guys, we've got a Hellion drop. It's actually going to drop there, take out that Zergling. But Snute right now is massing Zerglings. He's got a Baneling Nest that's going up. Holy shit, I think he's thinking of doing one of these middle economy busts. 35 drones, a ton of Zerglings. And the thing is, if he surrounds the Hellions and busts at the same time, that could be huge. At the moment, he's on full defense mode. We've got 5 queens out, 3 more queens on the way, but he's got nothing in position for the Hellion drop, guys. Hellion drop coming into the main. That's only 2 Hellions and a Reaper. The Zerglings aren't back yet. Oh, but Heromarine slightly slow to dive in. Gonna have to just pick up on fly on out of there. So he's still got these dudes up there, these dudes here. He seems to like this kind of threatening presence. Banshee is on the way. Banshee's going to be fantastic versus this. Looks like it could just be a safety Baneling Nest. He did stop building Zerglings, start going back into workers. So, okay, what looked like it was going to be a very aggressive opening from Snute, now looking a little bit more typical and almost overly safe against the threat of Hellbats after that game number 1, right? 8 queens and a Baneling Nest. I feel like the 8 queens and the Zerglings alone would probably get the job done. But this is just going to give him a little bit of safety, a bit of insurance. So interestingly, Heromarine morphs these. I don't know if he's going to try and elevate into the main. The creep spread will spot that. Snute can see the edges of his base. And looks like it's just going to be a 2-pronged poke. So Hellbat drop in the main. Hellbat's at the front just kind of poking. And might actually get a few workers. Let's see. Does manage to kill a couple of Zerglings here, but he's taking a lot of damage on the medevac. Good focus fire from this queen. Puts the medevac in the deep red, and that needs to run out of there. These Hellbats going to poke forward, but yeah, that ain't going to get nothing done. So they go down very easily, and so far, Snute looking very healthy in this game. Hellion drop coming back in, though. Man, Gabe's going for broke. He wants to get the damage done, and oh, the medevac goes down. The Zerglings getting this around. 4 drones died, though, to this Banshee on the 3rd base. Spores aren't quite finished. 5, 6. So, can we see 7 or 8? Oh, very nice. Heromarine. This Banshee. Snute not pulling his workers away. I mean, he gets the Banshee, but that's 9 kills. He needed to pull those drones away from that sloppy from Snute there. Great play from Heromarine. After being blocked time and again, finally finds the opening. Another Banshee going across the map. We've got 2 Thors and a reacted Starport, which will no doubt be building double medevac. So it's going to be a double Thor drop. Just a Banshee on the map for now. A few Hellions at home for defense, plus 1 weapon starting on the armory. Meanwhile, double upgrades, range and carapace going down for Snute. I don't think there's a Roach Warren out, so Snute might actually be playing Hydra Bane. Otherwise, you would expect a Roach Warren by this time, especially in this meta here at IEM Katowice, where a lot of the Terrans were still playing, especially the EU players were still playing mech rather than Bio. Banshees coming in. Hellions, Roasted Drone going to the 4th base. This Banshee just taking advantage of this area. The lair is so late, it's not even halfway done. And there's no Spore between the bases, so Snute leaving an opening in his defense, not quite manually adjusting as well as he should have. This Banshee finding some damage. Even gets a Baneling there. It is just going to fly away for now. Hellion's still alive at the front and threatening. Snute's up a little bit in workers, but yeah, I think the delayed Overseer, the ability for Heromarine to both scout more drones building, which means, hey, I don't need to worry about a counterattack, and do a bit more damage. This gives Heromarine all the comfort in the world. He's got the double medevac Thor drop on the way. He's building tanks and Hellions. He's got, yeah, the 3rd pretty much established. He's going to just explode into more factories in the near future. Interestingly, still building medevac, so we're going to be seeing a Hellbat drop style of mech. This Banshee escapes once again. Good defense by Snute that time around. 2 Thors. Actually, he's going to do the timing attack with the Hellbats joining up. There's no Roaches, there's no Hydras. Snute cannot deal with this. His Banelings are not finding the Hellbats. The Hellbats spread. Oh, Heromarine, you sexy, beautiful man. All the Hellbats do manage to absorb the Banelings. They spread so well. There's still one left getting healed by that medevac, and these Thors are like, get wrecked, 4th base, come fight me, dickhead. Snute says, oh shit, I really need that 4th base. He desperately needs to hang on, but these Queens simply cannot damage these Thors. Luckily though, the threat of Zerglings, and then the Queen's threat on the medevac, Heromarine decides to play it safe, backs off. I think he might have been able to fight there and tease that one out, but when the next wave of Zerglings came, he would have lost the Thors. Instead, keeps them alive, keeps them healthy, and a ton more Hellbats. This is a fast, hard pushing style. I said he was going to explode into factories. Nuh-uh, Heromarine's just going to keep the aggression going. He senses weakness. He wants to get rid of this 4th base. 3, 4 siege tanks, actually dropping it in a pre-spread formation. Hellbats roasting the Zerglings. Banelings washing up on the Thors. 1 Thor goes down, but 3 siege tanks still standing strong. And this is an incredible push from Heromarine, getting so much damage done. He's got 2 reacted factories, 3 tech labs going. That's 5 factory production. He will need some sort of transition if he can't kill Snute here. But you know what? Does it really matter? He just got the 4th. What's Snute got? He's got like 7 Hydras, dude. He's so screwed. He doesn't even have a 4th base rebuilding anywhere else. Heromarines just going to keep pushing, and he should be able to bust through, or at least trade efficiently enough. There's a 4th command center on the way. More tanks, more Hellions. Heromarine a little bit clumped up right now. He's got Hellbats and a Thor ready to drop on top of the units. What's he doing? What is that? That was the... Wow. Okay, that was... Wow. I think he thought the Thor in that medevac was Hellbats, and he was trying to drop on the Hydras, but the Hydras were behind the mineral line. He flew in and lost half the units before they even dropped. Not a great drop by Heromarine, but the siege tanks are still just dishing out the hurt from behind. And Snute's out of steam. He's dead. One little misstep there from Heromarine, but about 1,000 good moves before that, so it doesn't even matter. Heromarine closes out that game. GG, well played. Very nicely done there by Heromarine. Is this live? I am casting off a replay, but I am live. So just in case, I know people get confused about this. I actually never vodcast, guys. I almost never vodcast. So just in case you guys are ever like, why is Pig live? There will be moments where I go to take a piss or eat a sandwich, and I'm away for somewhere between 3 or 10 minutes, usually about 2 or 3 minutes at most, unless it's my lunch break, which happens once a stream. And in those cases, there will be a video playing of past highlight clips. And on the screen, there'll be big pink writing that says, be right back. This is a highlights video. And it's good shit. What are those Pokemon? They're Pokemon, dude. Well, what do you mean? Just casual Pokemon. All right, guys in chat, you get to choose which Pokemon do you want me to beat the shit out of. Who's Avatar? I don't even know the name of all the Pokemon. I am gonna beat up. Ooh, who do we want to bash? Actually, I'm just gonna choose someone at random because this replay actually loaded really fast. I think Mount Everest, because look at this stupid flower head. Look at this stupid flower head. Oh no, I'm getting shaken around. Oh, get wrecked. Sorry, Mount Everest. That's what happens, dude. You just got bashed. You just got bashed, mate. Yeah, if you're a sub, you get yourself a Pokemon avatar. You can choose any Pokemon in the first gen, and you can fight each other's Pokemon as well. Every now and then, pop-ups, power-ups come along, and you can jump and grab them. I don't like to have it happening in-game because I think it distracts from the gameplay and everything, but it's just a nice mini-game which we can play whenever I'm on my out-of-game screen here. Sometimes I'm here for a few minutes when we have a long search time or we're chatting, so it's kind of nice to let everyone have a little game to play. So it's actually a Steam game. You actually buy it on Steam for like $10, and then you can run it and you overlay it into your obs. It's actually really cool. It's all controlled through Twitch chat. It's very, very awesome. Fugos, thanks for the Twitch Prime sub, friend. Appreciate that. Much love. All right, guys, I will be right back. No, I won't. The Pokemon will be right back. We're going to dive into freaking game, aren't we? All right, guys, let's go. Here we go, game number 3 of this series, and it's been a little bit brutal from both sides. We saw the Ravager Ling counterattack just bust through and wreck Heromarine in game 1. Heromarine, of course, committing way too much to the aggression and being a greedy boy behind it. That looked like a carbon copy of my games when I played that Hellion drop style back in the day. I'd always be greedy behind it and die to a roach bust. But game number 2, this guy here got overwhelmed by a very fast Thor Hellbat push into a tank Hellbat rally. Here's Snute. And down here in the bottom left-hand side, in the red, the Terran player, it is Heromarine. The crazy thing about that push, right, is you normally think of Tank Hellbat and it's good, but it runs out of steam. The reason that worked so well is because he had like 4, 6 medevacs healing those Hellbats over and over again. Over and over. He kept healing those. And the healing actually adds up so much over time, especially because he was spreading the Hellbats versus Painlings. And, you know, he was pulling back weakened ones and that sort of stuff. So Heromarine showing some incredible pushing power there. Hellbat, Medevac, Thor, then Siege Tanks. Snute going to be opening up Gasless for now. No, oh, just a gas, even later than I like to take my gas. So Snute there. Sexy boy Snute taking the gas a little bit later than some people prefer. I like it. I like it. Frobobo, thanks for the tier 1 sub, mate. Appreciate the support. Much love. When Pig realizes the Pokemon are cooler than him on the stream. Alright guys, stream avatars is closed. You guys can't have nice things. People always neg me. They always neg me. Ree. Should be like an orchestra of different rees, which I have. Should have the, when I get that audio button going, we're gonna do that. For show. For show. Fast Factory on the way. This was a gas first opening, so it looks like the same sort of opening for Heromarine. Once again, Reaper hiding behind the natural to be safe against the spawning pool first. Spawning pool first, Zerglings hiding around the map. Snute feels like this is a good way to play. Now, part of the reason why this is worth it is often you build 6 Zerglings to defend the Reaper off a hatchery first. In this scenario, Snute's queen is out earlier, so even if the Reaper comes across the map, he doesn't need any Zerglings to defend. So this is kind of awesome, because he says, well, I just built 2 extra drones nice and early. So even though I have 1 less lava than I would off a hatch first, I actually have 1 more drone. And sometimes he even gets to disrupt the Terran build order like here. Might even get an SCV kill. Oh, bad micro from Gabe. Actually let that SCV go down. Is, of course, busy swapping his buildings around. Does get another SCV building the natural, gets the factory Hellion started. And this is the advantage of a gas first, guys. These Hellions start at like 2 minutes 50. By 3 minutes 30, you can have 4 Hellions out on the map. It's actually just such a fast build up into your 4 Hellions and your Reaper. And the really funny thing is up to a certain skill level, you can always run those first 4 Hellions and the Reapers in. Probably up to about mid-masters, and I'd say about 80% of the games, the Zerg won't have enough units to defend it. All you need to do is get 1 good volley on his Zerglings to kill most of them, and then you can just dart through the base and you'll kill like 10, 15 drones and just like get a huge advantage. Because players just aren't used to the Hellions hitting at that crisp timing. So if you like learn the opening and just get it perfectly executed, you will often just surprise and be able to get damage. It's very cool. Something we don't see very often, but even happens to me sometimes where I'm like, I've been playing against Barracks Gas, I've been playing against slower Hellions, and then bam, YOLO Terran dives in and kills 10 of my drones, and I'm like, God damn it. I should have been paying attention. I knew it was gas first, I just didn't think about it. So, anyways, Gallery with the 4-month resub. Thank you very much for the support. So, Hellion's still here, guys. We do have these starports swapping onto the tech lab very quickly this time. Might go for a faster Banshee, but I think Viking. I think 100% we see Viking. Oh, Snute! Snute sees it. He sees the Tech Lab starport. He's like, haha. Oh, the Viking is already out, actually. Okay, never mind me, guys. The Viking was already out, yeah. It's Viking into Liberator, though. So it's been spotted the Tech Lab. So he says, could be Banshee or Raven. Guess what? I'm going to build a Liberator. Don't even need the Tech Lab for that. Ah, ha, ha. But now you've got to build, like, spores, or, like, you're unsure. This is the power of this opening from Terran, is you can build a medevac, do the Hellion drop, the multi-prong Hellbat pressure, or you can do a medevac drop and not commit to Hellbats. You could actually swap your factory and start building extra reactors and get your barracks up quicker. You can go Cloak Banshees, you can go Raven Auto Turret Rats. There's so many things that can come off this. And it always keeps the Zerg guessing. So what Zergs love more than anything is the comfort of knowing exactly what's going to happen. Because then they kind of go on autopilot. They have like a rehearsed defense where they're like, all right, I've got queens here. I have the queen here to defend the Hellbat drop. And I have my spore here, my spore here. And they'll have this like really kind of set thing. And it frees up their attention to focus on macroing, right? They're injecting perfectly. They're not getting supply blocked. They're spreading creep. But the moment you start mixing things up, you can often throw a Zerg off their regular game plan. Like right now, Snute looks totally comfortable. He's like, yeah, this is fine, this is okay. He hasn't built spores yet. What are you doing, Snute? You've seen a starport with a Tech Lab and you're not gonna build spores? Are you a psychopath? Oh, Overlord does go down, but so does the Viking. I'm always happy to lose an Overlord for a Viking kill, because then you can replace your Overlord spotters on the map. A massive Hellbat pressure on the front, guys. Where is the Lib? There it is, coming in on the back of the third base. Not the best siege up location, but still going to force that whole base to evacuate. Good reactions by Snute so far. Oh, bounces that red hit point queen back into the Hellbats. The Zerglings finally get revenge. They do kill that Reaper. That Liberator should have changed positions by now, but Heromarine is too busy macroing at home. These Hellbats, they did some good damage, but the drones, they do the ring around the Rosie, and they will make it back to safety. The Spore Quill is going to move over for that Lib. That Liberator really needs to reposition. These Hellbats still haven't been shut down right now. And Snute, you got to be careful with those drones. He's at 72 drones versus 48 workers right now. The Liberator finally repositions, but he's only got 15 hit points. Definitely could have done more, I think, if that Liberator repositioned earlier, but no, goes down. These Hellbats are still in the main, though. What the hell? Snute! Oh my god. These Hellbats are just, like, waddling their way through the Zerg base. Oh god, causing chaos everywhere they go. And 6 drone kills. Snute going back to mining a little bit early there. He's still got an epic worker lead, but his lair's very slow. Doesn't have a 4th base down yet. We need to see him drop that right now. Yeah, that's how he pushes this advantage. If he wants to really build on this advantage, he can't be aggressive because his tech's so late. But if he can just build his economy even further and spread creep, he's in control of this game. I think, this was not bad damage from Heromarine, but this is the important step now. If he can do something with the Thor drop, maybe join up with Hellions or do a Thor drop on the 4th and do a Hellion run by, say, through the north, come down here, run into that natural expansion, that could work out very nicely. So we're going to have to see what he can do. It's only Zerglings and Queens right now. Queens suck versus this Thor drop, especially against Thor Hellbat, so this is kind of the problem with Snute's super delayed lair, no Roach Warren play. I feel like if he went a Roach Warren, he would have such an easier time getting rid of this. Zerglings are going to come in. The Thor's focus fire the hatch. Does get the kill. Very nicely done. Immediately replaced here by Snute. Snute's dedicated to holding onto this base. Personally, I would have just gone for that base if I were him. He finally does change his mind. He's going to go for both. He's got it. Oh, no. Okay, thankfully for Snute, that actually died, which gets him the 300 minerals back. If that started building, it would have died instantly and he would have lost all the money. These Thors boosting around, they're looking for some more damage, clearing up some creep. And he is, of course, a bit annoyed at how far this creep spread is out already. Hellions and tanks are going well back here. We've got +1 armor on the way after the +1 attack. That's an odd choice. Don't see that very much. Maybe didn't have the gas for +2. Blue Flames on the way. What have we got? 2 reactors and 3 tech labs. Okay, so he's up at 5 factories, and Heromarine might choose to play another aggressive pushing style like in that previous game. Doesn't want to give too much space to the Norwegian Zerg player. The German aggression coming in once again. Who misses Goody, by the way? I miss the Panzer General. I do miss Goody. As ridiculous as his games were. You know, Gabe just plays like an actual solid smart style. Hellion counterattack gets shut down there. Thor's cleaning this up, whereas Goody was just like, every game was a special snowflake when Goody was playing with his 80 APM dude. And Snute's just going to sit back, guys. I think losing the 4th really took a lot of momentum out of him in sales, because now he's forced to mass units on 66 drones. I really do feel like Snute could have been up to, you know, defending with roaches and up to 80 workers by now, but he's going to go forward with the Hydra Bane. Oh my god, the siege tanks aren't siege yet, but the Hellions micro, actually runs into 2 or 3 of the Banes, but that's not enough to kill all those Hellions. Heromarine has Hellbats ready in these medevacs. He wants to push forward. Heromarine still on relatively low production, but he does have double Liberators building as well to support the 5 factory production. This is a style which needs to do damage soon. This isn't something which has huge production behind it. He's got to trade out okay here, but Snute's coming in with a massive surround of Hydra Bane. The Baneling's getting great connections on those Hellbats. The Queens and Hydras coming forward. Snute breaks the position. Oh my god, the tank line just keeps going back. There's a lot of siege tanks. I think Snute should jump on top of this, though, with the transfuses. He's got transfuses on the Hydras. The siege tanks are going down. They don't have any more Hellbats left protecting them, and a great hold for Snute. Units lost tab, guys. 1,000 resources in the favor of Snute. So even though he's only on 66 drones, that's really good. If he can drone up this base, take these gases right now, and go for like Vipers, I think he's in a game-winning position. Double Liberator harass, as well as some Hellions. Gonna try to equalize here for Gabe. Gabe comes in, does take out Creep Tumor on the north, but there we go, does get it. Gonna kill a few of these drones as well. Not bad here. Heromarine, alright, gonna get a few kills. I really hope he splits those Liberators. I hate when people siege up Liberators both on the same base. There we go. That gives me a little bit of excitement in my nethers. This Liberator does just grab 1 kill. Unfortunately, slightly misplaced in range of the Spore. But this one here is going to grab a few drones as well. Hellbats on the north are going to retreat at the same time. Great multitasking from Heromarine. 9 worker kills, keeping Snute's economy low. It is costing him units, though. Heromarine still behind, but he's taking some momentum away from Snute. Snute's Hydra movement speed upgrade still not done. He's got 1-2-1 upgrades. He's got +3 range on the way. How many Vipers is that? That's 4 Vipers out. Snute's in a good position, but once again, worker count is not that great right now. This is something, yeah, he's not going to be able to take bad trades. Snute needs to be efficient. Ooh! Hellions come in, grab 3 or 4 Hydras. Good trade for a couple of Hellions. Hellions very cheap, Hydras very expensive. Yet when it comes to equal numbers, they trade very evenly. It's on the Banelings to help protect the Hydras from the Hellions. Also, if you've got a concave of Hydras, the Hellions run into the middle of that, the Hydras will do well. So that's what you got to watch out for. If the Hellions ever come in on, say, a flank, say they isolate these Hydras, come in from there, they can basically just roast them in a clump and run away. But whenever they run into the middle of a concave of Hydras, that's when the Hellions get wrecked by them. Unless they actually have the number advantage. So, got to watch out for that. The angling with Hellion versus Hydra, very important. The speed Banes on creep obviously force the Hellions to disengage each time. But if those Banelings ever run out, the Hydras end up very exposed. We've got Ghosts already on the way, guys. 2-2 on the way now for the mech as well. How many Vikings? 6 Vikings in the sky. They're going to do a good job of clearing out those Vipers. The scan catches this army moving forward. Siege tanks are already sieged up here. More tanks moving up. The Hellions staying in Hellion mode. Notice they want to micro away from the Banelings and shoot them down before they close with them. So even though the Hellions have less hit points, they have more mobility and more range. So it's going to be a very micro-oriented engagement for Heromarine when it comes. It's going to be about how he angles the Hellions. Oh, doesn't micro them back. Loses like 8 Hellions for free. Too busy trying to siege these tanks here. But another great angle here for Snute. He's going to come in. There are more siege tanks on the back line. That's what's going to stop him from dying here. But these tanks are all going down in the front. A few abducts going down and a blinding cloud. I think Snute needs to disengage. This is an overextension. He's too clumped right here. He's too clumped. He can't break that. No, this was a terrible overextension. Hellions even coming in from behind. He'd taken such a good trade up to that point. He will manage to kill a few more of these siege tanks on the left. And, oh man, though, yeah, I think if he pulled back there, he would have been able to hit again really, really hard. Now look at his supply. He doesn't have the economy to replace those Hydras. If you're on 85 drones as Snute, that's a good trade because you've got the economy to just endlessly replenish. But look at it now. He's like, yeah, I kept my Vipers alive. But look, he's going for Broodlords and melee upgrades. Those aren't important right now, Snute. You need a larger economy. And he just doesn't seem to be going for it. I think he's focusing on efficient engagements as the way to win. But that's why that engagement was so bad. You can't afford a sloppy angle like that where all your Hydras are clumped up on this area trying to get through to these siege tanks. Whenever you're coming around an edge like that, you usually want to disengage, reposition units to come around from a wider angle, maybe down here, something like that. You never want to force yourself around a corner because that's where your units clump up the absolute most. Hellions are going to come down the left-hand side. 4 Hellions diving past the Queens and Hydras. There are exposed drones on that base, but the Hellions are going to back off. They realize there's too much Zerg. Hellions on the south side at the same time. What's here to answer? Banelings, Hydras are coming in. Are they going to be able to get many kills before the Banelings connect? I mean, he's going to get 3 or 4. A couple of these Banelings are being wasted as well, right? The thing about that is Hellions are cheap. Banelings not so cheap. So if we keep an eye on the units lost tab, Heromarine is actually being still about the same amount less efficient this game, but he's dropping mules. He's actually mining more than Snute. And now with Ghost in the mix, if he can land some snipes or EMPs, big EMP, only one Viper having energy and it's only for a single abduct. Oh no, this is a terrible engagement. Snute losing 2 of his Vipers. There's not a lot of Hellbats, that's the one thing. Okay, there's not a lot of Hellbats, the Zerglings actually doing work. Oh man, where were the Hellions? Actually, now that I think about it, I think I understand Snute's decision making. That may have been a very smart choice. He saw all those Hellions be committed to counterattacks. He said, I'm gonna just move your tanks now. You don't have the Hellbats buffering, you don't have the Hellions buffering. The Zerglings and Hydras, very good against tanks when they don't have the support. Nonetheless, Snute did lose a lot of valuable units. He's down to 2 Vipers. He's only got Hydras and Vipers right now. And Heromarine is securing new bases. This base, empty, completely undefended. Lots of support here as well. But this is what I was talking about earlier, guys. Sometimes Snute gets a little bit focused on just winning in one way. And his way seems to be a low economy, Hydra Bane, Viper, overwhelming force. The problem is the upgrades are getting better. We're getting towards 3-3 for Heromarine. Ghosts are out. They're going to add snipes. They're going to EMP the Vipers, and the Vikings are going to shoot them down, making the Vipers nearly worthless. And the thing is, you can fight this army, but you need a bigger economy. Snute is just not rebuilding his economy at all. He accidentally kills one of his extractors here. He's got a 5th base, but he just doesn't have that many workers on it. He's just transitioning his workers from one base to the next, and he's saying, I will win with this army. The reason this scares me, guys, is one bad fight, and he's not going to be able to replenish. Heromarine, yeah, his economy is not great either. But I mean, that's kind of always the situation Mech is in this scenario, where the Zerg has crushed that first Hellbat tank push. And normally the Zerg should run away with that game. Look at this creep spread. This gives you so much safety and comfort, but Snute not taking advantage of that to build economy. He wants to smash Heromarine with just Hydraling Bane. No Swarm Hosts, no Broodlords. This is Snute being a little bit stubborn. I don't know. He can definitely still make this work. This creep spread is epic, but counterattacks down here might be nice as well. Finally, Heromarine realizes that's a weakness. Has 3 siege tanks there. He's got some Hellions poking, trying to clear map control. He's going to try to push back some creep in the middle. This is such a shitty position as Heromarine, realizing how much map control goes to Zerg. You don't know what's going to hit you next. Is it Broodlords? Is it Swarm Hosts? Is it just more Hydra Bane? Luckily for Heromarine, it is just more Hydra Bane. And these Queens, they're great for tanking siege tank shots, but they're very slow and awkward, and sometimes your units actually get stuck behind them, and they actually weaken your army rather than strengthen it. They also are supply in your army, which does almost no damage. The Queen's attack, very ineffective against ground units, so we're gonna have to see how this one works out. EMP! Is the EMP gonna land? No! No EMP's landing. Finally gets one of the Queens there, but he was not watching. Both players caught unawares. And a little bit of a sloppy move forward by Heromarine. Snute, slightly slow to react, but he jumps on it. He's going to dive forward. Man, that's a lot of siege tanks. The Hydra's washing up against them. They are both trading armies out. Is this going to be an even trade? I think Snute will be able to break through. If he can take out a base after this, that will be huge. But he's only got a few Hydras and Queens left over. We'll get rid of this forward position, but that's a planetary fortress. It's going to be a hard ask to take that one out. Hellions coming in, trying to contest these Hydras. What have we got in that production tab? More Hydras up against Hellion, Viking, Tank, Ghost for Heromarine. We've still got 2 Vipers left alive after that, so a few Vipers did go down. Looks like Heromarine is going to have to cancel that command center. A nice snipe off here for Snute. And Snute, I think, just going to take the better part of Valor and back off. He's just going to chill. This base mining healthily. I mean, Snute's constantly got enough mineral patches for his work account. It's just his work account's a little bit sloppy. Okay, so Heromarine, what has he got? Not that many siege tanks, but his tank count is building very quickly. Snute tries to bash through here. The planetary fortress is what worries me. As the banelings get close with the enemy, that's going to be a big issue. The tanks actually repositioned from this southern base. Are the Hellions going to spot this? Ooh, the Zerglings. Are they going to get a wraparound? They are. Very nice. They will be able to take out these Hellions. All 4 Hellions will go down. Map control on the south side does go to Snute. We are going to have to see a few units move down to defend that base. If Snute just runs in there, he can start causing a lot of problems for Heromarine. Right now, Heromarine struggling just to establish this one area. Creep knocking on the doorstep. We finally do see Corruptors in the way, but I kind of feel like it might be a bit too late for Broodlords. We've already got 4 Ghosts out, 6 Vikings. Thor's being built, more Vikings. Broodlords could definitely be amazing here. I do prefer that over him just sticking on Hydra Bane. But he's got to build about 8 Broodlords, maybe even a few Corruptors as well. Right now, it's just 2 Corruptors. And he doesn't really have much money, and he's building Zerglings now. So, Snute, puzzling me a little bit with how he's choosing to play out this game. I gotta say, I'm sounding a little bit frustrated, and that's because, I don't know, I feel like he could just get ahead in economy and bash his way through Heromarine. But he's being a little bit overly cautious with that economy, and Heromarine doesn't have a lot of the map. He doesn't have a lot of bases. But because Snute's economy is not big, he's kind of like, I have to stop you taking another base. I can't keep letting you build up. But guess what? Heromarines getting closer to maxed out. He's making that more and more perfect army. Now, right now, we've got 15 siege tanks. Broodlords would destroy this army. If he had like 7 or 8 Broodlords, but 2 Broodlords is nothing. That's going to achieve next to nothing. 2 Broodlords really is almost worthless in this scenario. He's got 5 more Corruptors on the way, but I think this swap is a little bit too late. Parasitic Bomb lands on the Vikings. Ooh, big damage. Does get 1 Viking kill only. Those Vipers going to need to suck energy. He's only got 2 Vipers right now. Snute, I might actually give up this base if I was Snute. I don't know if this is the right call. Yeah, I mean, especially if you're wasting your energy on parasitic bombs, he loses that Viper. Snute, this is going to be, I mean, it's on creep. It's on creep. He's going to dive. Too many tanks on siege. Heromarine with a massive army, but I think he might have blundered it by unsieging 80% of his army there. He was only sieging while the Hydra, Zerglings, and Banelings were engaging. Snute pounces and says, there's no way you can push me that fast. Nuh-uh. And starts to counter push across this map. The siege tank spread actually goes on forever though. Heromarine does have more tanks backing this up. He might be able to keep this base alive, but that's not what he wants. He needs another base, and there's creep there waiting for it. Snute in control of this game. His drone count finally being bolstered by 10 more workers going down to this base. He's realizing that economy's taken a few hits. Every time he builds a new structure, it does get a little bit weaker. His gas count's actually really bad right now as well. Missing 1 guy mining gas there. Gases are out in the main and the natural. Only mining 1 gas there. 2 gases there. Okay, yeah, he's only on 5 gas mining right now. Snute will need more gas mining to keep this game going. Here we go, finally. +2 melee Zerglings running into this expansion. No adrenal glands, but they're still going to be a nightmare to deal with. At the same time, we've got Broodlords starting to siege forward. Oh, these Broodlords going a little bit forward on their own. The Queens need to keep them alive. There we go, the transfuse is good. Keeping that alive. Hydra's on the high ground doing a massive amount of damage. Those SCVs not being pulled. The Zerglings down here still causing troubles. Back in the north side, these Hydras have done a ton of damage to that expansion. Snute, get back on that high ground. You were picking away so much economy. Ooh, a Broodlord or 2 do go down. These Broodlords continuing to just poke forward here. Snute, oh, where are the transfuses? Get those Broodlords out of it. This is, oh, I mean, he's taking the trades. It's a good way to do it. Trade energy for siege tanks, but he's not quite on top of it. Where's his reinforcements? The Hydras are a little bit too far back, and these Hydras on the left engaging the planetary. A very bad engagement here by Snute. Kills a lot of siege tanks, but he didn't pull back with the Broodlords. Overcommits the planetary repair is good. Oh, no, I don't know. I think maybe if he can crack the siege tanks, he can do this. This fight is just insane. This game is crazy. Are landed Vikings actually going to hold off right now? It's a whole bunch of mechs right now. Zerglings have wrecked all the depots and expansions in the south. So during this, Snute did massive damage to Heromarines infrastructure. But those Hydras engaging the planetary, an epic waste of resources right at the moment where, remember guys, this is Heromarines' last base. Snute didn't need to break it. It's already mining out, and he was sieging it from the high ground. He jumped the gun with those Broodlords. He went too far forward, and he took a bad engagement. We've been talking about Snute's drone count and how he can't take bad fights. Every time he has an advantage in this game, we are seeing him get ahead of himself, take a sloppy engagement, and give a little bit of hope to Heromarine. Heromarine has been behind this entire game. Ever since his first push didn't work out, he has been down. But Snute has been a little bit inefficient when he's on Heromarine side of the map. He's taken amazing defensive engagements and some poor offensive engagements. It's not the sort of clean play we expect from Snute. He's normally much more methodical than this. And he's actually running out of mining bases right now. He's finally taken this base in the bottom, but he needs to take these center bases as well. And because he's dawdled with taking those, being on such a low economy, it's going to be very hard to secure these in the later stages as the Terran gets closer and closer to them. Because we're going to see Heromarine now securing this expansion. You can't really take that anymore. It's a stone's throw from the Terran's base. I feel like he's, yeah, maybe giving up a little bit of an opportunity there, and suddenly losing drones on this base. Back down to 63 workers. Snute just can't catch a break economically in this game. His Hydras, Lings, and Banes are rolling in on the top side. Does get a bunch of Zergling kills, but there's still 50 workers for Heromarine, and that really is all he needs right now. Army supplies are tied neck and neck, guys. Do we have more Vipers? There's no Vipers out right now. Where are the Vipers? Snute is starved for gas. He can't afford Vipers, and he's running more drones in down here. This is a disaster for Snute. If he could just have a few Vipers in this army, look at Heromarine. He's got his Vikings on the ground. He's got a few tanks, a bunch of Thors, a few Hellions. It's little tidbits. It's not an entire army. It's just like Heromarine trying to scrap together what he can. But Snute's on pure Hydra Zergling right now. He's trying to re-drone, but he keeps losing those drones. He's got to stop losing them. Now, he's going to move forward with the Hydra Bane, but no Vipers, no Broodlords. It's just pure Hydra Bane. It's all mid-game units. Tanks and Thors in the right position do very well versus this. Right position being the name of the game. That depot, the siege tank siege on, he actually can't raise it, but that's okay. Hellions coming in from the north, going to do a little bit of micro, is going to take out these Banelings. The Hydras and Banelings are going to split all over the place. Snute's like, okay, we've got to deny these bases. I think Snute now realizing, wait, there's no expansions down here. He might actually suddenly grasp just how starved Heromarine is, but Snute, once again, frozen on a Hydra Baneling play. It's not a bad composition, but I've got to hate on its long-term efficiency. It's just, it doesn't have that much longevity over the long term. I mean, movement is the strength of this composition, so I liked what he did there, but I think he needs to do more of that. If he splits his army and does that again, but actually breaks this wall, especially if he can catch him when those tanks aren't sieged, if he gets on the production, he will win the game. Heromarine can't afford to replace that. But right now, there we go. Okay, more Broodlord tech. Finally, he's taking the gases on the south base, but he still hasn't taken another expansion. His bases are mining out. He doesn't have enough mineral patches, and he's not taking expansions as quickly as he could. Very critical this game, because normally we see Snute so methodical with this, but he feels like he's forced to try to finish the game here with Hydra Bane. The siege tank shots there are going to scare him off, but I like the posturing. I like the movement. He's got to have a follow-up, though. He's still got 5 queens. Most down here. He's got so many hatcheries, he's not bothering injecting anymore. Understandable. He's building some spines down there. Finally, he's going to take another hatchery. A good choice. Vikings, Thors, tanks on the way for Heromarine. Heromarine given up on ghost production. And lucky for him, there's no spellcasters, so nothing to EMP for Heromarine, of course. Snipe, very good against Broodlords as well, but Thors and Vikings can get the job done with that. They are all on their high-impact payload right now, which means they do massive single target damage at 10 range with their anti-air attack. 65 damage versus armored targets. These Broodlords going to go down in 4 shots to the Thors. That's a very quick death. Now, of course, Broodlords have 10 range as well, and if you control your Broodlords correctly, you can actually fire from even further away. You only need to enter 10 range for a millisecond. You can then pull back several range and poke in and out without ever letting your opponent get more than the occasional shot off. The thing is, to do that, you do need a separate Broodlord control group. Right now, I think Snute has Corruptors and Broodlords on key number 6 by the looks of it. We're going to have to see if he can micro that as well as he needs to. The big problem for him right now is no Parasitic Bomb and a ton of Vipers. Hydras and Banes here. This is only part of Snute's army. Snute's got to back off. Broodlord's being caught in the open. The Vikings don't pounce. One of those Broodlords cancels. Another one is going to go down. You see how quickly that cocoon just dies. He's got some Hydras on the south side. These guys out in the open a little bit. They're kind of in a weird position right now. They're going to try to dive up here, grab a few SCVs, maybe kill the siege tank as well. I think if he ran forward and killed that siege tank, that would have caused a problem for Heromarine. Heromarine really does not have great defensive setups, but he's focusing on this frontal push right now. Another Broodlord cocoon goes down. These Broodlords, oh no, another one goes down without a transfuse. Snute just really not ready for this push. He's got 47 Hydras right now. Almost pure Hydra. The only way this army works is if you can flank and come in from multiple angles. I don't think having that many Hydras coming in from one angle is going to work. They're going to just get stuck behind each other. Snute, you need to be flanking around the left side, but he's letting himself get balled up. He's getting pushed back into a corner. Heromarine has just been absorbing punch after punch this entire series, and now he's going to go for one big push. and make it or break it with this. Hellbat's taking down there. Snute starting to spread, but he's still got too many Hydras clumped in one location. There we go. Heromarine has started to establish a forward position there. He's got the choke points. Heromarine in control. A giant concave of Hydras decides to pounce from Snute, but he's not coming in from the north. Hydras getting crushed in that little pocket there, pathing into terrible area. The Hydra's trying to break through, but there's so many siege tanks. He's trying to swap into Mutalisks right now. 11 Mutas, a desperate swap. They don't have upgrades. They can have +1 carapace, but against +3 air weapons, that is effectively worthless. We're going to see Heromarine unsiege and move home. He says, I took an incredible fight. Let's get Hellions, Thors, and Vikings. Hellions will defend from a Zergling Remax. Thors and Vikings will defend from Mutas, Corruptors, and Broodlords. Heromarine, being patient, being smart. I think that's a checkmate decision, honestly. Snute's economy is not very good. He hasn't transferred workers to his new bases. He hasn't been managing that as well as he should have. His top base no longer mining. This base is out. This base is out. He's really only got this base, which is only got 4 mineral patches, and this base fully mining. He's got to use that one, but he's a little bit slow going about it. And I mean, the pure Hydralisk choice here from Snute, I think a poor one. In hindsight, really. There's a certain number of Hydralisk that's effective. 50 can be effective if you have perfect positioning and angling. He didn't in that fight. He didn't. He came in from effectively one giant angle. He needed to be flanking from down here and over here and over here and coming through that angle. Not doing that meant he just didn't have enough there. The Hydras were stuck behind each other. I think this pocket here, we saw about 12 Hydras all clump in there to try and shoot a siege tank that was there from that location. Massive splash damage, eliminated them almost instantly. That was like 12 Hydras gone in a second. So, Mutas are out, but this is desperate from Snute. And honestly, we don't have missile turrets, so maybe, what have we got though? 4 Thors, 4 Vikings. 4 Thors with 3/3 will wreck 19 Mutalisks with no attack upgrades. They're just not going to do damage. These Thors have 5 armor. The Mutas do 4 damage a shot. It's going to take 100 Mutalisk shots to kill a Thor. 100. He had 19 Mutas. That's assuming none of them died. It would have taken 6 volleys. 6? Wait. Yeah, 6 volleys to kill the Thor. But we saw the Mutalisk count just went down. It got shredded. Heromarine in a good spot. The Mutalisk tech choice was not the right one. Honestly, I don't think any other units would have availed him a victory either. I think at that point, after that last engagement, he just was in too bad a position. This +3 Thor laughing at the Zerglings and the Mutalisks finally does go down, but the rest of the army has had time to get home. The wall stands strong. The Vikings chasing out these Mutalisks. Even the Vikings have 3 armor. They take very little damage from the Mutalisks, guys. +1 attack is now done on the Mutas, but yeah. This upgrade differential too huge. Even if he had +3 Mutalisks, it still would have been a bit dicey, and Snute's going to tap out. GG, well played. Thank you very much, Deep Sixth and Beardy ST2 Swarm for the subs, guys. Congrats to Heromarine for hanging on like a champ and bringing that one back. If we do a very quick review, I do think this was a huge compositional mistake at the end by Snute to just mass Hydras. And the thing is, even if you're going to do that, you've got to play to that composition, right? You've got to play to that composition. So what do I mean by that, guys? If you're going to play to that composition, we're going to go back to about 2840, something like that. No, slightly earlier. You've got to counterattack. You know, you can't expect to get a perfect surround, right? With 47 Hydras. Half of these Hydras should have been across the map. We saw these 6 Hydras go up. They took 1 siege tank shot. He said, shit, I don't know how many tanks are up there. And he pulled back. What if this was 20 Hydras and he went in and killed that? Suddenly falling back against these tanks and Thors and Vikings, you're like, yeah, kill a base like you. I've got more mining in the bottom. I'm making Vipers right now. You know, I'm going to pick away at you as you move forward. But instead, Snute wasn't doing damage behind this. He didn't have anything hitting this completely undefended expansion here. He didn't have anything coming in like a Hydra to hold position there and get that gas. You know, Zerglings running and getting these depots. There's just so much damage I think he could have been doing. And if he was going to focus on front on, what's Flyer Carapace good for? What's +3 melee good for? They're decent, but you need Broodlords, you need Vipers, you need those high attack units. Pure Hydra Queen really was not able to do it. Let's watch this last engagement one more time, and like I said, he let himself get too balled up. He finally spread, but these units needed to be spread there, as well as around here. And there, he should have pulled up into that base. A little bit of panic from Snute. And we see there, Queens start to fall, and watch this area, and watch. It looks like a huge spread at the start of the fight, but watch when they enter here and here. These are the 3 kill zones. So the Vikings and Thors initially take what is a bit of a sloppy engagement. Beautiful angling of these Hydras. The problem is you don't need to just kill the Thors and the Vikings. You need to kill all 27 siege tanks. Now, it's 25. I was exaggerating when I said 27. I was just making up a random number that sounded way too high. Just generally, you don't want to be fighting this with Hydras, but I think you might be able to with the perfect surround. You'd probably want to be coming from the top as well, though. And especially Zerglings would be really nice, spread throughout to absorb tank fire and get on top of them. But watch. This is the first area up here where units start to clump. Kill zone. Kill zone. It's too many siege tanks, man. GG's. And that's that. A good hard fought game, an epic game. At the end of that, let's take a look, guys. 65,000 resources lost for Snute. Even more once the final fight's happening. 60,000 for Heromarine. Like I said, he never had a big economy. You need to play super cost efficiently if you're going to play with such a low economy. And he wasn't quite able to do it. Workers killed, not that many this game. But 770 Zerg units died, 320 Terran. An epic bloodbath! What a great replay. Much love to those guys for playing such an epic series at IEM. So well played, Heromarine. Takes the game 2-1. A great series. Thank you very much for watching that one, guys.